All right, welcome to an edition of the Horse Racing Happy Hour. Mike Gandolfo here. Just fresh off an airplane, had to get back. Got to hang out, got to voice chat with our man TK yesterday. It was awesome.
There you go.
Yep. And I'm here. I left the beach to come back to this whatever we got going on here.
It's decided we're gonna have summer and then 3 hours of rain and season change. Like
immediately.
Done. That's it. Hard left turn to fall. Keeneland starts tomorrow. They decided we were gonna have no sundresses at Keeneland this year, so that's just how it is.
There'll still be sundresses.
Just under jackets.
Yeah, there's artificial ways to make sure people stay warm. So
I do remember the Abel Tasman Oaks.
Yeah,
it was
so cold.
48 degrees was the high, something like that.
It was
and I wore like 5 layers, and there were women just trying to wear it was like little kids with the Halloween costumes under their winter jacket. Yeah, that's exactly what it was. I felt so bad because you could tell people had spent months and months trying to get ready for those days, and it just didn't.
We found a good spot to watch that one from too, so that was awesome. There you go. Actually, you might not have. Were you with me on that, or did Kimberly?
No, that was probably a year and a half, 2 years before we hung out.
Yeah.
Yep. One of the best. That's one of the best Oaks rallies in the history of that race, though. Or that last.
You know what? A lot of our listeners might not know who Kimberly is, but Kimberly's an OG on the show. Like she got us going.
OG.
So, Kimberly Greenwell, who's doing big things with My Southern Home and all that stuff. That's fantastic.
Blowing up Nashville.
Got her start with us. It was before we were Horse Racing Happy Hour, though.
Yeah.
So,
by the way, I did tape an episode with Sherva before this one.
Nice.
About 45 minutes. A little preview Santa Anita. Talk a little Breeders' Cup, getting ready, what we should expect when we get out there. And then
what should we expect, Louie?
Find out together right now. Oh, cool. All right. So we're at John Lindo on the Horse Racing on Isla and Louie tomorrow after Kevin Kilroy. We're going to put out a ton of content this month. So if you are locked in, we got you covered here on the Happy Hour.
Yeah, make sure the people who want to listen to Louie live from 10 to noon Eastern time. There's an ESPN Louisville radio app. You can just stream it on iHeart, but make sure you're doing the 680
smart speaker. Just ask for ESPN Louisville. Yeah, you can find us anywhere.
Fantastic. And then I will say this, Louie, I'm pretty happy that we're getting the nice fall weather for the pumpkin patch this weekend, because that's our big thing at our office. And that pumpkin patch, we're getting like perfect pumpkin patch weather, right? Like it's going to be sunny. It's going to be 60. It's going to be fantastic.
The sun's going to feel hot. It'll be that, right? Whatever that weather is.
The sun will feel warm, but you'll still be wanting to wear a sweatshirt.
Right. Yeah. You'll be like, why did I wear a dark sweatshirt instead of a lighter sweat? Yeah. No, that's
It'll be good. He's going to be upset number one.
Georgia tonight. Handicapper. We'll get into Keeneland with him. Like I said, I will have an episode tomorrow with John Lindo, Chandelier, American Pharoah Stakes. We'll talk Rodeo Drive with him as well. I think Kevin's going to get into Keeneland with us as well tomorrow.
So what did you get into this week since I've been gone and you couldn't bug me all week long?
What did I do?
Yeah.
I've been sleeping.
Yeah, good. Yeah,
that's such a lie. I don't sleep. It's terrible. Actually, I've been better about it lately, so it's good. Yeah.
You what?
I've been better about sleeping lately. You get to a certain age, Mike, and you just have to sleep. It is what it is.
I guess that's true. I don't know. I'm still not there. Although I will tell you that
at like 6:30 at night when you're not doing this show.
Well, that's because I just fall asleep in the chair. Like
because you're not bad. Yeah, that.
But like I will tell you that so the trip I went on was a bunch of business owners, and we get to go away and we do a little business planning retreat. And it used to be where we would drink hard and stay up late and all that stuff. And now it's like, we get to catch up on sleep, and that's exactly how it's kind of transitioned.
100%. Yep.
All right, well, let's look at the couple of replays from last week. We're going to start at the Ack Ack. This is the Breeders' Cup Challenge race here for Zozos. So Zozos is in. We'll get a look here at how Zozos did, and then we'll get Louie's commentary.
Yeah, so I was out there for this one. So I actually saw this in person and made sure to get out there so that I could see. In a weird, geeky way, I was excited to see this race because I knew whoever qualified here would be at the Breeders' Cup when we got there in a month.
Turn on the
Zozos in a pesky Cattle River. 1-2 off the turn. Stage Raider needs to find a way through. 3 Technique switches to the far outside as they race for the mid-stretch marker. Zozos is still in front, and he's shaken up now. The lead is 2. Stage Raider fights on. 3 Technique putting in a final try. Zozos still the leader. Stage Raiders coming on once again. 3 Technique down the center, but Zozos finishes strong and wins it by a length on the wire.
Oh,
Stage
geez.
Raiders settles.
The big
Massive
scenes.
professionalism on the horse racing happy hour.
Listen, I'm trying to do it all. I'm trying to do it all right now.
You're
so
good.
Like, yeah.
A question. So one of the main differences I would say between how and Barry Spears will join us, Urban Handicapper, like I said, how he handicaps and how I handicap, for example. I think the number of turns in a race really matters.
Yes.
Barry doesn't. He thinks distance is the only thing that matters. So I'll be interested to hear him because, Mike, question for you. If you are the first horse out of the gate and the first horse to the line, is that a winning style, running style in horse racing? The answer is yes.
Yeah.
Right? So Zozos can repeat that, man. He can win the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile. That's all I can say about that, except that he's probably going to run into Cody's Wish, who, by the way, the last 3 races has not broken well.
No.
And if he gives himself too much work to do, that's where it's the kind of race where if you're trying to find value on that Breeders' Cup card, you could find with trying to beat using a Zozos instead of a Cody's Wish, or catching him in that race in the sequence. Yeah.
All right. Well, let's since you mentioned Cody's Wish, we can go out to the Vosburgh at the Big A.
Yeah.
Get a look at how.
Little aqueduct. How about that? There you go.
All right. Turn the sound on.
Racing in third, then Cowan in the red blinkers, and in between horses is Sheriff Bianco, who's making up some ground. The half mile in 46 seconds. They come off the turn and into the stretch, and here is Cody's Wish up to challenge Accretive for the lead. Great Navigator is down at the rail. It's 3 of them across. It's Cody's Wish and a very tough Accretive who continues to battle on as they hit the 16th pole. Cody's Wish now edges clear, and Cody's Wish back to sprinting, back to winning today in the Vosburgh.
So this is the grand question they're going to have for this horse, which is, do the braking issues actually force him into the mile to give him more time to catch up, or does he go to the sprint where we know that he can be an absolute monster?
And I think there's some just sense too of like maybe if the horse maturing, maybe wanting to go a little bit more distance,
right. And they tried to find that out at Monmouth right this year, and it didn't work out. And so, they tried to find out if he was going to be a classic horse or if he was going to be a dirt mile or a dirt sprint kind of horse. And it's pretty clear the longest he's going to go at the Breeders' Cup is a mile. But I think you're right. I think that there's, tends to be as horses get older, they stretch out, but once in a while you discover too, they're just sprinters. It is what they are. But I worry for him that how he's been breaking lately is going to cost him at a race like a Breeders' Cup race where you can't make mistakes. It's not an option.
Well, and we'll see if that's the case with this field or not, though. I mean, I think, as far as Breeders' Cups go, this is not it doesn't seem as star heavy as what we've seen in the past. The sprint races are definitely a little bit more star heavy than some of the distance races. But, he'll pick his spot, and I do kind of like him in the mile. Be interesting to kind of see there. And then that sprint kind of opens up quite a bit. So,
do you give Zozos much of a shot?
I mean, it could. I mean, right now everybody's so inconsistent. I don't know if the betting that day, knowing how we like to play those multiple race sequences, I don't know, singles in the Breeders' Cup alone are hard.
There was a flight line last year. There was a Cody's Wish last year, but that's unusual to have 2 in the same day.
And we've had a couple of times when we had, we thought we had singles and they disappointed us.
Right.
I mean, and the distance between 1 and 2 this year in most of these fields is not very big at all. So, I mean, you're going to be seeing some monster tickets put together on some of these things, and you're going to probably get a pretty good payout because of it. We're going to get some shockers. We're going to get some payouts. I
agree with you. This feels more like what we expect those Breeders' Cup payouts to be, $100,000 on this pick 6, that kind of stuff. Like that kind of number feels more right here than not. I don't know that you and I have talked about it, but John and I got into it on the previous episode that I recorded right before this one. John Sherva, LA Times. He's got a piece up right now about the races this weekend. Essentially, the West Coast swing for the Derby starts this weekend in that American Pharoah. Baffert with a couple of horses in there, a couple other really nice colts as well. The Chandelier is loaded. Outside of Tamara not running, she's training up to Breeders' Cup, but that's a loaded version of their early Oaks, if you will. I think the Breeders' Cup Classic not being the last race of the day and leading into football is generally a good thing because it puts horse racing on TV alongside other sports. John is 20 years older than me. I'm not trying to pick on him, but I think that, hey, horse racing needs to be the blah, blah, blah. And even in that episode, he said, look, I get it. The average person cares about the Derby. They don't care about Breeders' Cup. And that's what I said. I think the other part of this too, Mike, is what if you catch the 25-year-old guy who's ready to watch a Big Ten football game, flips on NBC,
catches the race,
he's got 5 minutes,
yep,
and he's got an app that allows him to bet horse racing, and he's got $50 on the football game. He's like, wait, I could put $20 on this race, and I get 12-1.
Well, and honestly,
that really does.
Even just the person who doesn't even bet it, because maybe that's a great race, and they like, man, this was pretty cool. I just want to watch more of it. I mean,
they don't know if it's a good field or not. It doesn't matter.
They don't know.
Right? As long as it's a close race, they don't care. If it's 203 and change, they don't care. Right?
They have nothing to compare to.
That's exactly.
And where I go with this is if you go back to last year, and the Breeders' Cup Classic was the primetime showstopper, and we had a all-time great horse, and NBC didn't even pub it because it didn't matter.
That's right.
They could have a monster horse like Flightline and pub it all they want, but they didn't put anything behind it because there's a waste of resources. Yep. So if it means that, you're right, like if it means that, hey, we can be in the middle of the football day right before that Big Ten game, it makes too much sense not to have that classic run at 3 o'clock.
I even said to John, I expect the viewership for this Breeders' Cup to be up from last year, and Flightline's not in it, just because it's going to be before football. I think people just flip over. Maybe there's not another interesting game going on, something like that, and people just flip over getting ready for whatever Big Ten game there is that night. So I think there's a chance to catch a crowd that they don't usually catch. I'm
just surprised that the Big Ten can play a 7:30 kickoff and not all their players fall asleep because they're so used to just kicking off at noon.
You don't know that they won't. You don't know that.
What's up, Barry? How you doing? Barry,
hey.
Now, and I brought you on because I knew you'd have an opinion about
always.
Yeah, I mean, if you didn't pick up what we were talking about, you're rocking the Devil Race hat, which I respect.
Yeah, they had to, you got to pour one out for the dead homies. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I got to admit, Barry, I really feel like the way that the baseball playoffs are going right now, like that, it's a disservice to get a bye.
It is. It seems like it because whenever those teams come into the fold, they always get beat early. And
so when I saw that plus 2,400 number on the Rays to win the World Series, I took it.
I would have taken it too. I didn't see that.
It worked out good for me, whatever. It's only
but I was hearing.
I'm already like betting on like European soccer games. I have no idea what's going on.
Ping pong in Croatia, yeah, right.
Yeah,
I was listening to what you were saying about Flightline and stuff like that, and the timing of the Breeders' Cup Classic, and I think you're spot on. I'm under the ilk that do whatever you need to do to get the most eyes on the sport.
Right. 100%.
So whether it's running early, like who cares? Run it, start early.
The race.
I don't care. I mean, I don't think the horse players would care a bit, or you might get some gripes because that's just what horse players in general do. But in the end, why not? It's no big deal to shift it around based on how many eyes are going to see it.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's not Derby Day when nothing's going on in the sports world. This is football season, man. It's different. And so I'm with you.
Smack dab in the middle of it.
That's exactly right. I'd rather this be on Saturday before another football game. Let somebody catch 15, 20 minutes of horse racing for the first time and be the best race that we're going to have on that card that day. And look, it's not going to be the best race as far as horse players are concerned, but it's a full 2 minutes. People get the two-turn experience and all that stuff. I was just saying to Mike, they don't know if 203 and change is a good time or not. They don't care. Close race, they don't care.
None of that. This is the first Breeders' Cup we've had where FanDuel's got horse racing. DraftKings has got their DK horse.
Yep.
I mean, there's other things at play here.
Race really, too. Yeah, all that stuff. Yeah,
they could all hit. So I mean, it's just gonna, to me, I think it makes too much sense. It's a good thing for horse racing, no doubt about it. So. Sherva's listening. I'm going to tell him to get off his lawn, or to stop yelling at kids to get off their lawn, and go back and order yourself some Grubhub for your dog, and then
there you go.
Dog Grubhub.
I mean, let's be real. Barry Spears lives about 45 minutes away from Sherva. How many times have you gotten the invite to Sherva's house? I mean,
0.
All right, there it is.
I don't even think Sherva goes to the Tampa Bay Derby, so let's be real about this. Yeah, that's 0.
Okay.
Zero.
John, we
There
love
you
you.
go. Well,
We love you, John.
there you go. All right, so it is time for Horse Racing 101. Barry Spears is our Horse Racing 101 guest for this week. It is sponsored by our friends at the Maryland Million, MarylandMillion.com. That's next week. We will have a Maryland Million preview show with all the usual guests. For that Jim McKay Maryland Million, make sure you check them out at the website for Maryland's Day at the Races. They updated other contenders with the Maryland Million Watch. You can get those club tables, couple left, and check out this year's press and souvenir guides and much, much more. All of it at MarylandMillion.com. And so if you get out there for Laurel for races next week, they had some like north of 300 entries for that card. Let's
Crazy.
go. Let's go. That sounds and 12% takeout on those pick fives. Let's go. Should be a really good day racing.
I was just in Baltimore. Like,
Oh, there you go.
One of the best bets in racing, to be honest, is that 12% takeout.
Oh, Maryland Jockey Club, no question. That's right.
All right. So you want to tee up Barry Spears for what we're talking about today?
He knows. Yeah, we're a little Keeneland, little key.
Well, wait, Keeneland's tomorrow? Keeneland? What?
All right.
Wait, what?
So we're going straight into the handicapping, huh?
Straight to it, I guess.
Let's go. Before we do that, the one-on-one aspect.
101 with him. So
the one-on-one aspect that we're going to go with is the handicapping distance versus turns.
Boom. That's it.
So,
man, this is like a huge gripe that I have. That
I know.
I've gotten on some TVG/FanDuel personalities for this, and I'm under the ilk again that distance is distance, turns don't matter.
Right.
And what is the supporting evidence, Barry Spears?
Because a 6 furlong race around 3 turns is still 6 furlongs.
Who's running 6
Do you think Zozos, for example, who ran a really nice 1 mile at Churchill going 1 turn, if he can replicate that, he could do it going 2 turns at Santa Anita?
Most likely, yeah. I mean, you don't really see too many horses that are just so horrible taking turns that they can't win. I mean, even Cody's Wish had some issues with turns. I guess you could say that. I mean, he just lost. He lost at Tampa last year by a nose going 2 turns, and people were like, "Oh, he can't go 2 turns." So it's all relative. But the distance is the distance. If they can get the trip, if the jockey can get them in the right spot and save ground or whatever that is that they need, distance is king.
There you go.
Not the turns.
Louie, what say you?
I'm a turns guy. It matters to me. And so I just think that being on that single lead going around a turn is a different motion than the horse running. I know they don't run in a straight line. They kind of run a diagonal. But I do think there's something to it, especially I'll agree with Barry on this. I think at a Churchill or a Santa Anita, Keeneland, whatever, it matters more than, say, at a Charlestown or something or in a Assiniboia where to go 7 furlongs, you got to go 2 turns, that kind of thing. I think it matters less in those places. But the more distance you add to the races, I think the turns do matter. So I guess I'm saying both, which is kind of ridiculous. But I do think the turns matter just because of that lead foot having to do the pulling in a direction, kind of in that lean to the left that the horses have to do. It matters to me, but I've also seen horses go from the 1 mile with 1 turn at Churchill and be just fine going 2 turns at a mile as well.
I'll say this, whether the distance or the turns matter really kind of doesn't matter, because that aspect of everything is kind of relative. Like, you have your opinion about it, I have mine, but in the end, it kind of, to me, is not high on the priority list of things. This is kind of nitpicking at the end of something or trying to find something to separate one horse from another that are really close, things like that. But, the 1 turn, let's say 1 turn mile, can play like a sprint. So you might have to approach it differently. So I can understand
really
that too.
Good at 7 furlongs. You might trust him to be good at a mile over 1 turn, right?
Exactly. So you do have to make decisions and kind of understand what's going on. So it's not an absolute, like, oh yeah, it's definitely, turns matter, or, it's relative.
But what about from a positioning standpoint, especially like lots of times we're going to see Santa Anita, even those mile races, they still have a decent little run up until they get into that first turn. But like you could really hurt your shot if you can't get in position going into that first turn. Especially, I mean, Santa Anita is not used to having these fields that they're going to have for Breeders' Cup with 9, 10 horses. They're used to the 5 or 6 at most. So
smallest field on Saturday will be 8.
Losing ground is never a good proposition in any kind of race, but you're right, especially in those ones with 2 turns. You don't want to get hung out 4 or 5 wide. It definitely makes a difference.
All right, well, we'll head on to the handicapping segment here. We're going to start we're going to stay in Keeneland, but we're going to actually do Friday races today, which is kind of unusual. And we're going to start with the Grade 2 Phoenix, which is on Friday. It's race number 7. It is six furlongs on the dirt. Estimated post time about 4:12, $350,000 on the line here for the 3-year-old and up race here. Louie, you want to start?
Man, brutal card at Keeneland tomorrow. 12 horses in everything, ton of 2-year-old races. Have fun, y'all. Get some prices because there's going to be some. The stakes offer some relief from having to look too hard for some of those things. But I am on the wrong card. There's the Phoenix. Hi, Phoenix. So I landed, the Phoenix is race 7. Sorry. I landed on Nakatomi, and I think it's because it's the horse that's got the best record at Keeneland. There it is, 3 for 4 lifetime. Has been okay this year, did run in that sloppy optional claimer last out under Tyler at Saratoga. But like I said, 3 for 4 lifetime at Keeneland, has hit the board 3 times at 4 runs this year. I think he's fast enough to win. Wesley Ward's got a serious base layer. The horse has actually been training at Keeneland leading up to this race. I really like that aspect for him. Not a huge price, and I think with IRAD, you're probably going to get 7-2, that kind of number on him. But frankly, if he wins the race, I'm never mad about 7-2. I don't know what to do here, Barry, with Dr. Oscar, who's coming in from Canterbury. Did run at Oaklawn Park before. You get Quinones aboard here, who I think is a fine jockey, and especially in a sprint. I'm less concerned about jockeys when I'm in a sprint, especially with a horse like this that is early speed. It's more about the break from the gate and about like what, not losing ground, like, Barry mentioned in the last segment. And so interested to see him here. I think he's got a legit shot to both win and hit the board in this one. Not on my ticket, by the way, is going to be Bango. Mike and I talked about this many years. That horse is an absolute rock star at Churchill Downs. That does not translate to Keeneland, man. They are different tracks. And we do not see that translate very often. So I'm going to try to beat Bango here, man. And I'm not reaching too far down the totem to get to Nakatomi. I do think Hoist the Gold is interesting here as well. The 1, get 8-1 on this horse. Didn't look great in that Pat O'Brien last out. Didn't look good in the Big Crosby before that, but did win an optional claimer at Ellis Park. We're getting back to Keeneland with a horse has run second twice in 2 runs, has a high 90s buyer as well. 8-1 price there. Like the connections too between Dallas Stewart and Johnny V. Interested to see Johnny V's sort of day, because he could really disrupt a lot of this card, because he's got a lot of these 8-1 kind of right. I mean, he's got a lot of these 8-1 type of horses. He could be really disruptive in a lot of tickets here. So I would probably lean here on 8, 9, and 1 in the Phoenix.
Barry?
Yeah, this is a really interesting race from a speed standpoint. I think there's going to be, this pace should heat up. And for that reason, I'm tossing Dr. Oscar.
Okay.
I just think that, anytime this horse has gotten a little bit of contention early, kind of folds, or he just doesn't win. I'll say that. He doesn't really fold, but he doesn't win. I mean, the last race he had at Canterbury, it was like a cakewalk. There was no pressure. And the one before that, same thing. Those races were extremely soft, and he got a huge number, and I think it's a little bit phony. So I'm going to toss Dr. Oscar completely. Okay. But the horse that I would put on top, or I probably will, is Manny Wah.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
I think this horse form is probably a little bit better than what it looks like on paper. Plus, you add in the pace scenario, which should be quick. I mean, Sibelius is fast. Dr. Oscar is fast. They're definitely going to the lead. They did it before at Tampa on Pelican Day back February 11th this year. You add in a horse like Top Gunner, who probably will be forwardly placed. Not so sure what Gulfstream Way is going to do, because that horse is actually projected, at least from what I can see, to get kind of the same trip as the Chalk, as Bango. So I don't know how that's going to work out, because Bango, I think, is just going to create problems just by being where that horse will be, kind of towards the outside, but stalking or trying to get off the hip of any of these front runners. And I think there's going to be a logjam for that. And Manny Wah should be right behind that. And I think that might be the ideal spot, because those horses that get first run may end up getting it too early. And then, hopefully Manny Wah can swallow them up. But, I do like the idea of Hoist the Gold in this race, although I don't think 6 furlongs is quite his distance. I think he could, kind of make it into the number. Same with Necker Island, who ran pretty good last time, despite kind of being up against it pace-wise.
Do you know when Manny Wall's last win was?
It was a while ago.
It was this race a year ago.
Yeah. Yep. Last year.
Of course, we haven't seen Manny Wall since April. So, I mean.
By the way, also, Necker Island, if you get Flavian Pratt at more than 20-1.
Yeah, I saw that too. And I was like,
God.
I think he's going to be at least half that, if not.
Yeah, I agree.
Further down, and maybe 10-1.
Yeah.
Past winner of this race includes a horse named Wise Dan, by the way. So
that's right.
Yeah. And Run.
But yeah, Manny Wah has 2 good works on the 14th and the 23rd. Tightening up for this one. I think he's going to be okay.
Oh, listen, I love Wayne as a horseman. Nothing would make me happier than see Wayne pull that off. So, it would be great. And you're going to get a good price, so you're going to get, I think 6-1's probably, you might even get 7-1.
Yeah, probably get a little more than that.
Yeah. All right. Nakatomi, is Louie's pick, which, begs the question, is Die Hard a Christmas movie?
I'd say no.
Oh, we got a no from Barry. I thought Barry for sure would have gone yes.
I put up the meme every year, it was like, oh, join me at the Nakatomi Towers on Christmas. But I don't know. That's a tough call, because I tend to think that, Christmas movies are actually about Christmas, not during Christmas time. So I guess that's the gamble right there. Well, is it set at Christmas time, or is it about Christmas?
Yeah, right.
Louis, what says it's not on the Hallmark Channel for sure? What's
It's a Christmas movie. It's okay. Yeah.
It's a Christmas movie. I mean, that's because you're from Detroit, right? So
Bruce Willis said it isn't, so that means that it is. Yes.
Oh, okay. I have a funny Bruce Willis story. When I lived in Boston,
okay.
There was this place called Whiskey Park, which is like right downtown Boston. It's a nice little spot, a bar. And they were filming the movie The Surrogates in Cambridge at the time. And obviously he was the main guy. I saw him at the bar by himself, like kind of huddled in the corner. I didn't even believe it was him. Somebody's like, hey, there's Bruce Willis over there. And I was like, get out of here. He's not here. and it was funny, because I was with Rodney Harrison, who, at that time was with the Patriots.
Are you just like name dropping like crazy here?
I am. He's my friend's cousin. So we were out. And in fact, he was laid up. He had crutches. He was on crutches. We had gone to dinner and went to this place because it was right there, and he just hobbled basically across the street. And he's like, let me go see if that's really him. And he hobbles over there, and he comes back like 2 minutes later. He's like, that's really Bruce Willis. And I went over and said hello. And he was a nice guy, He's kind of smaller than what I expected, but,
most actors cool. Are. Louis, bigger deal seeing Bruce Willis at a bar or actually hanging out with one of the greatest defensive players of all time, Rodney Harrison.
While on crutches.
Yeah, and probably name dropping Ben Wallace while you're there. So
that's my man.
I'll go with Rodney Harrison. Yeah,
I don't disagree. I don't disagree.
I hope he's a nice guy, because he has a good personality on TV.
Although he's cool. I was around Bruce Willis. I think I just dropped too many Pulp Fiction references. I don't know.
I'm sure he's not exhausted with those.
I didn't even know what to say. I was kind of starstruck, to be honest. I was like, oh, yeah.
Oh, he's A-list for sure.
I was looking down at him, so I was like, oh. Hey. He's awfully short. I'm about 6'4", so I'd say it seemed like he was about 5'9".
All right.
I
think most actors are pretty small, pretty short.
Yeah, like Tom Cruise is a shrimp.
Oh, he's a little guy.
Sylvester Stallone is little.
Yeah.
Height-wise, he's kind of a
jacked,
stocky guy.
Yeah.
And then I saw, if we're gonna stay on the star thing, I saw Tyra Banks in the Miami airport, and then I saw her at Universal Studios in Hollywood, like literally like 3 hours later. She was with her bodyguards and stuff, but she's awfully tall.
She's tall.
Like my height.
Well, she was a supermodel, right? So
yeah. I was surprised how tall she was.
Was it good era Tyra Banks?
Yes.
Okay.
This was like I would say early 2000s.
Oof, good for you. Yeah.
That's
fantastic.
Okay. Tyra Banks or Vanessa.
That was a better story than the Bruce Willis one. Not gonna lie. Okay, yeah, there we go.
Tyra Banks or Vanessa Williams.
Tyra.
I'm going with Vanessa Williams.
Vanessa's older, so.
Well, I mean, in their prime.
In their prime, I'm still gonna say Tyra.
Okay.
I'll go Tyra too.
All right. Jessamine Stakes is race 8. This is a grade 2 for fillies, two-year-old fillies. Is there Oaks points on this?
No, it's on the turf.
It's on the turf. That's right. Sorry.
Yep.
Who do you like in this one? We'll start with Barry.
Ooh, this is a tough race, man.
This is a tough race.
I mean, all these horses have like 2 and 3 starts, and it's always a crapshoot because one of them usually jumps up out of nowhere and runs a big race. So obviously, I'm not gonna even attempt to go anywhere near Smooth Waves or Time to Dazzle, the 2 inside horses. One long shot that really, really caught my eye was Tupi, the 5. Another Flav Pratt horse that has 20-1 on the morning line. I don't know how that's going to happen, but I really like that last race against No Name Mets. I don't think that this horse was really meant to sprint. I think this horse will stretch out just fine. Uncle
Mo and a tap at mare, right? I mean, she's made for it. Yeah,
exactly. And if she can settle off of the speed a little bit, I think this one is going to have a really good chance to win. Pratt doesn't really ride for Grand Motion much. He used to ride him a little bit when he used to ship out west.
Right.
But even out east, he doesn't really ride him much. And I think this is a good spot for somebody like this in a horse like that. The other one that really caught my eye was a Pellet, and there's no way that horse is going to be 10-1.
No,
none.
If you have Irad and Todd Pletcher on a combo at 10-1, you better hammer that.
Right, you got to go for it because this morning line seemed a little bit wonky.
Come on, Nick.
Come on, man. But yeah, there seems to be some speed in here. It should be a fairly run race. I think that's what I like to see in these kind of 2-year races because sometimes you get like lopsided or you get a trainer with like 4 horses in the same race and it kind of gets a little weird. But this seems to be perfect as far as, a 2-year-old turf race in October is concerned.
Yeah.
We got all kinds of like sires that make me feel. We got 2 Pharaohs in here. We got a Justify. We got a Classic Empire. We got Constitution. I mean, this is
even new ones. You got Flame Away.
Flame Away. Yeah, this is a young sire race. Yeah. All right, Louie, go ahead.
I'm with Barry. I'm going to try to beat those inside 2 horses, but I'm going to do it with Buchu, and this is a little bit of the. I watched this horse grow up in front of me kind of thing. This horse, Broker Maiden, at Churchill Downs, took 4 efforts to do it, but it was going 2 turns and going this distance essentially to do it. And she put it all together last time out. 143 and change can absolutely win this race at Keeneland. And so interested because it's raining a lot here, and it's been raining a lot.
Uh-oh.
That turf course, they're not going to take this race off. They're going to run this thing on the turf. The good thing about Keeneland is because, this is gonna sound like a criticism, but it's not. Because the race dates are shorter, they can stay on the turf and not really hurt the turf course. They don't need to worry about, like up in Indianapolis when they're gonna run 8 months of races. They gotta really watch the turf course. It ain't like that in Lexington, man. They don't have to worry about that stuff. She put it all together last time out. Keeps Martine Garcia in the irons here. Love that move from Phil Bauer in his barn. Last 2 times this combo of jockey trainer ran it at Keeneland, horses hit the board, and one of them won, paid almost 6-1. And so I'm looking for that kind of number here with Buchu, just because I think, like we're talking about the Pratt horses getting bet down, I could see a Buchu actually not getting bet down. Maybe we get 5-1 on this horse, maybe, that kind of number. And so interested to see where she ends up. Another horse that I don't know what to do with is Crown Imperial to 4. And this is Ricardo Santana and John Ortiz. 2 of them have been hooking up quite a bit recently. This is one of those horses that won at Kentucky Downs this year. And this is when we find out if the crop that was at Kentucky Downs is worth a damn. And I just don't know yet. And so I've got her on my list, but I don't know what she's going to do. I don't know if 2-year-olds winning at Kentucky Downs is good or not. And so we're going to find out, but I don't hate the price on her at 6-1. Ricardo has found his previous form. He's back to riding really well. And so that's been a nice development. Now, is he getting – I still don't know why he's going to New York and winning at 14%. He doesn't have to do that. He could stay in Kentucky and win at 19 or 20. And so I think some of those numbers are more New York related than they are ability related. And so I'm going to use Crown Imperial as well. But I got Buchu on top of the 10.
Yeah, there's only maybe 2 horses in this race that I think would be a surprise if they won. Everybody else,
I agree with you.
It wouldn't surprise me. And it's funny you talk about the rain and all that. I honestly can't recall too many times Keeneland taking races off the turf. I mean, I guess that's because I have Saratoga fresh in my mind, but yeah. I really can't recall like Keeneland.
They don't do very often.
Many races
not for graded stakes.
Turf. Yeah,
yeah, because of where their seasons fall, and Mike's talked about this before. They have to front load their graded stakes because Breeders' Cup's in and then in the spring they got to do it for Derby Day, right? And so they front load those things, and the Jessamine's going to be run on the turf tomorrow.
And I honestly, I don't know how much the issue of the rain's going to be. I mean, it's wet outside, but we're stopping here pretty soon. We're going to have plenty of time for it. Now, it's not the difference is it's just not going to get warm, but it's going to be sunny. So we'll see.
They got good drainage out there. They've been doing that for 100 years.
Yeah, I think
that's probably why I've never been to Keeneland, man.
What's that?
Too cold.
Oh no! Come on now.
But my birthday is in October. My birthday's in October, so one of these years I gotta do the birthday trip.
We're there, right?
Yeah.
We got to introduce you to our Mexican restaurant. And
I'm for it, man.
I know you are.
Trying to get down there.
Say, just go crush cigars and then
I got to plan a trip.
Let's do it. Yeah.
I got to plan a trip. April.
All right.
I'll be there in April.
Okay, let's do it.
Great.
No, I'm serious. And
we're serious too.
Up as soon as I get in town.
I invite you to stay in Louie's basement. So
okay.
You can have your own shower.
Am I going to be able to come out of the basement?
The John Sherva Suite. The John Sherva Suite. It's the closest you're going to get invited to John Sherva's house is going to Louie's house. So
that's pretty much right. Yeah.
Right. I have to go to Lexington to do it. Okay.
That's right. We're in Louisville, but we'll see.
Oh,
we'll drive you.
The drive's easy though, and the Mexican restaurants are a nice 15 minutes west of Keeneland on the way back to town, so they're perfect. Yeah.
Okay.
It's good stuff.
Race 9 is the Grade 1 Alcibiades.
Oh, the old Alcibiades. Let's go.
I got it. Okay. Go ahead. It's $600,000 mile to 6 on the dirt.
Go ahead.
For 2-year-old fillies. Now, Louie, does this have Oaks points?
It does.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So I've been traveling all week, so I'm terribly unprepared for this, Barry. Way more than normal, which is not saying much. All right, Louie, where did you land in this race?
Yeah, another 2-year-old race here, and I've adjusted my 2-year-old handicapping this year to try to find the horses on the improve. That's where in the last race, I think Muchu could be one of those. I think that she's on the improve, and so it's hard though to watch the Pocahontas and not think that Vivi's dream with that short finish line at Keeneland for these races. Even though she's going 2 turns for the first time, Barry, don't pay attention. They got that short finish line. So I actually think a horse like her that it has a pressing style. She's going to be second or third. They can make that move on the last turn, and I think she's going to be right there. I hate to use a horse that's 5-2 in a 2-year-old race, but I do think she's the class here. Obviously, a lot of people are going to be betting Brightwork because of connections and the fact that she's awesome. And so might be one of those where and by the way, I got to tell you, the Wednesday people, are praying to God that she wins here because she was bred for 10 G's, bought for less than 100K. And this is the kind of horse that can blow up. Yeah, it can blow up your breeding and that kind of stuff. She's already won 4. She's 4 for 4. This is the kind of horse that, you know, if she does it, man, we're going to be talking about her a lot come the spring. And so won the spin away last time, obviously going 7 at Saratoga. Outwork is a son of Uncle Mo, Malibu Moon on the mom's side, so she can stretch out. I'm not worried about that. And again, because of that short stretch at Keeneland, they're not doing a ton of extra work, and so she could definitely be there at the end as well. Candied is in this race, the 3-horse, 6-1. Massive thing going on at Keeneland that I don't think anyone's talking about is that Louie Saez is back, and this is his first races in a month. And I think there's a little bit of just getting back into it that he's going to have to do. We might not see some great results from him, but I also really trust Louie Saez. I really, really trust him as a jockey. So I've got her in the 3rd spot here. And then finally I landed on Emery, the 8 4-1 for Brad Cox, just because Brad Cox wins these races. I wish it was more complicated than that, but he does.
We saw last year's winner was Wonder Wheel, and of course Wonder Wheel came and won the juvenile fillies. So
yeah, it was at Keeneland, so she just turned right around.
Right, yep. And so, and then another famous winner of this race is British Idiom, who also did the same thing. So, Barry, what did you see in this race?
Yeah, I really couldn't make too much of any horses past the top 3. So, but I did land on Emery. I think this horse is just on the verge of being pretty nice. And I think a little bit the hype on Bright Work is going to be tough to take a short price on a horse doing something for the first time is kind of the old adage that horse players kind of adopt. And I think that rings true here. Not that Bright Work isn't worthy or isn't good enough to win this race. She's more than good enough to win this race and has probably better than average chance. But I'm just going to side against her on tomorrow. You know, she's had a couple of missteps early. And if, you know, against better horses, as the competition gets better, she can't really bobble at the break like she used to and still win. I think that might catch up with her tomorrow. So I'm going to go with Emery. I think Vivi's Dream could get a perfect trip here.
Yep.
So it's hard to leave that one out. One that did kind of pique my attention for kind of the wrong reasons is Crazy Cammy. I thought this horse was like a legit turf horse, and I don't understand why this horse ends up here.
I agree.
Of all the races. But it is interesting because the horse hasn't really run bad on the dirt and kind of runs like a turf horse on dirt at 6 furlongs. In a race like this, if this horse is ever going to win a dirt race, it would be this one, where everybody's not really too keen. You know, they're still learning how to run, and this one could sneak by at a big price. I'm probably going to use this horse in underneath in tries and supers, but it's just a little weird that horse ends up here with kind of no rhyme or reason. And I like those sort of things in horse races where you get somebody that just doesn't fit like on any reason from a good outfit. And this one kind of fits that mold.
Mike Maker special, right?
Yeah. Crazy things have happened.
We're going to move on to Saturday, but before we do, make sure you check out the Gold Book. Louie, where can we get the Gold Book?
Goldbookbets.com. Pretty simple. We'll have all your Keeneland cards and some college football now that it's legal in the bluegrass. I think we're the first to market with football and horse racing in the same sheet. So go check it out, goldbookbets.com. We keep it real inexpensive. It's just an experiment at this point, but get all of our capping for the weekend.
As bad as my football bets have been for the Gold Book, I've been killing it on my app. So I just got to maybe change up what games I put in the Gold Book.
I don't tell you which games you have to do. I mean, like,
you just give me suggestions, and so I feel like obligated, and I just need to like go the ones that where I think.
Now you start listening to me, great. Yeah, when money's on the line, great.
Sandbagging. That's all. Sandbagging.
I had
we have multiple horse guys. We have multiple football guys, so you get a lot of different opinions on all those things. So yeah, check it out. Goldbookbets.com.
When I was watching baseball last night at an Irish bar and betting on whether or not the next pitch was going to be a ball or a strike, I was like, all right.
We've reached the bottom of Western civilization.
Yes, that was it.
That's almost like betting preseason basketball.
Oof.
That's rough. That's bottom of the barrel right there.
Barry, who's going to have a better season, the Knicks or the Pistons?
Knicks, for sure.
I agree, actually.
Hey, I'm kind of partial to the Pistons. So,
well, I think Pistons going to start 5-6 guards.
They'll be interesting to watch, but they're going to be inconsistent. They're just
all 6'5" dudes that shoot.
All 6'5" dudes. There it is. All right,
Kate Cunningham's for everybody.
All right, race 6 on Saturday. Keeneland is the Grade 2 Woodford, the 5.5 turf sprint for 3-year-olds and up, $350,000 purse here. I think this is a super interesting race. I'll let you guys tell me what you think. But, I just thought there was a lot of horses here at a price that we could kind of see coming in. So what did you think here, Barry?
I thought there was a lot of speed. Obviously, it's a 5.5 furlong race. And you got these older Wesley Ward horses in here that kind of make things a little interesting. I mean, Eyewitness, what do you do with that horse? You know, I don't really understand the 20-1 morning line because that horse does not look 20-1, but whatever. And his other one, Coffee Maker, that horse has run pretty decent. I'm against them here, but they add to the pace scenario. And I think the 8 Our Shot kind of falls into a good trip with all this speed. I would like Beer Can Man a lot better if he wasn't on the far outside, but that one I kind of like equally as good. That Motorious race that he came out of, the General Flash at Del Mar, was a pretty good race, and Beer Can Man didn't get the best of trips. So I could definitely see that one turning the table. Seems to like Keeneland. His one run he had earlier in April wasn't that bad. Another one where he didn't really get a great trip, so he can turn it around.
Wesley Ward obviously winning this race the last 2 times with Golden Pal both times. So, Louie, what did you think here?
That there's no Golden Pal in this race. That's what I thought.
I think that's why it was interesting. Like, that's why I thought pretty much anybody could come up. Like, would you be shocked if Coppola at 12-1 popped up here and won this race?
No, because that's my top selection. And no, you're good. Martin Garcia, you get Dale Romans. Look, I think Dale has had a renaissance in his life and in his training. We've watched the numbers tick back up. I've been very vocal about that on this show. He was down under 10%. He's back up to 16 this year. I don't think that's an accident. This horse, by the way, ran twice really well at Saratoga. They ship him to Churchill Downs, immediately wins over a sprint distance. He's going to get back at it tomorrow. I just think 12-1 for a horse that hasn't been worse than a length and a half from the winner in 3 straight races is way too long at 12-1. But I think because of the connections, you'll still get a double-digit price on that horse. So I love that kind of stuff. That's a nice, in a turf sprint, Barry, I don't know how you feel. I really do try to get, either, grab 5-6 horses, try to really smack an exacta, something like that. Or in the case of this kind of horse, I don't mind a win place bet on this kind of horse because I might get 8-1, 9-1 on a place bet. And so that's really comfortable for me. So I do have Coppola on top. I think Live in the Dream, first start in North America for Adam West.
Batman.
Over here. Interested to see him. Did win a Group 1 last time at York, going 5 furlongs on good to firm going. And I think with some of the rain and some of the dampness tomorrow, that horse could actually really like the conditions. European horses seem to enjoy being at Keeneland as well. So if I had to use a more chalky horse in the top 2-3, that would be it. Bad Beat Brian's in this race, who's run 2 really good seconds
monster
in his career.
Bad beats both times.
Bad beats both times. That's exactly right. But another horse last 3 out has not been outside of 2 lengths. And frankly, if you go back 5, was in the Shakertown at Keeneland and lost by a neck, frankly, to Caravel. Man, Caravel's a world beater. So I'll take that for him all day. I'll be looking at those 3 horses there. That was 7-2-1.
All right, we're going to go 6 furlong dirt race now. The $350,000 Thoroughbred Club of America Stakes, where for fillies and mares 3-year-olds and up. Where'd you land on this one, Barry?
I thought Wicked Halo is it. It's just it. that horse is going to win.
There it is.
That's it. No, I mean, there's a lot of speed in this race. Ugiri has a lot of speed. Happy Soul has a lot of speed. Static Fire has a lot of speed. Not sure if Last Leaf is actually shipped up there, but Fire on Time, and that just leaves Wicked Halo with the alternate trip. Inside, kind of up close to the pace, take over at the top of the stretch. It's over. I just replayed the whole race for you. It's over. It's done. Wicked Halo.
Wicked Halo.
I think it comes down to Ugiri and Wicked Halo. I think that's what it's going to end up being. If there is moisture in the track, by the way, those two very good over wet go. I'm with Barry here. I think that you can use the 6, you can use the 1, and move on with your tickets.
All right.
Yeah.
First,
yes.
The 1 mile turf first lady stakes for $750,000. Fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and up. We're on the turf now. Gina Romantica in this race at 10-1 in Italian, the favorite at 4-5, which of course will be my pick. Who do we like here? Is anyone going to beat in Italian?
I hope so. Because
I was going to say, for price, yeah, you really do hope so. I mean, it's hard not to have in Italian in your top 2, 3, whatever. For sure, she's going to be part of the equation at the end. White Beam hasn't done anything wrong lately, man, and White Beam's going to be a problem. Really trust Flavian Pratt in this kind of situation for Chad Brown. Which Chad Brown wins the race here. You do have Gina Romantica in the 1 spot.
We saw White Beam, didn't we? Pimlico weekend? Or previous weekend? Yeah.
Evie Jets, man, is in this race. Won the spa last time at the spa in a grade 2. 10-1. I don't know how much of 10-1 we're going to get because of Jose Ortiz, but because it's out of the Canarmachi barn, that we might get a price. We might get an 8-1, 9-1 kind of number on that horse from the outside. Is a more balanced runner than some of the other horses in this race. In other words, isn't going to have to make up a bunch of ground at the end and make her own trip, I should say, going into that final stretch, and may just have more kick at the end under Jose Ortiz than not. Has never run a Keeneland before, but 3 for 5 this year. I really value horses that win. If you wanted to knock against that horse, seems to be every other type, and this is not the every other. But if she does show up, I think she's got a real shot. I'm fascinated by Jumbly, and part of it is, out of the younger O'Brien barn, he's 0 for 5 in North America this year, which is, I think, a little misleading. This horse did run in the grade 1, Coolmore at Leopardstown last out, going left-handed, so at least has that experience, did run 5th. Before that, though, was at Saratoga in that race, right behind Evie Jets and Fluffy Socks. Interested to see if that horse gets play here, but I would play Evie Jets at a longer price than I would Jumbly at 6-1.
Makes sense.
Barry, what do you think?
I guess this all comes down to who is going to try to run with in Italian.
Right.
And I think that basically is up to either the 6 or the 8.
Right.
So this name is okay. It's got to go, right?
I agree. Yep, that's their.
We just need somebody to to at least bother in Italian a little bit, and if they do that, that leaves it open for a horse like Gina Romantica, who I think is very underrated. I think this horse has some physical issues, and it kind of made no sense to me once that horse won at Tampa, broke her maiden. They started running this horse on the dirt for whatever reason. And I was like, this horse doesn't even look like a dirt horse. Probably didn't even look good that day, to be honest with you. That was on Tampa Bay Derby Day in 2022. Didn't really look all that great. Just didn't beat anybody on the dirt. And I don't understand why they would think that horse was capable of anything on the dirt. When they finally get her onto the turf, she runs really, really well and has actually gotten better positioning-wise. So I don't think she's going to be as far back as she was like last, August in that race in the risk averse. She was way back, but I think she got a bad start. So that you could kind of throw that one out, but she's going to be close. And I think she has enough kick at the end to win a race like this. Same thing with Gam's Mission. I think that horse is a lot better than what her past performances look like. I mean, she's another one that may have some physical issues because she laid off from the Mint Julep in 2022 all the way to the Hillsborough at Tampa in 2023. And she seems like she's kind of kind of gaining momentum, but this is a good spot, and I think this might have been the goal race for them. So I'm gonna try with those two in boot in Italian out. I'm gonna try to get her beat.
Well, the thing about Gina Romanica too, that's a Chad Brown, Tyler. They've won 4 of their last 11 races together at Keeneland too. So you might get an opportunity there to actually pick one of these off.
And a good price on that for sure. Yeah. All right, we're gonna go on to I'm not a big fan of 2-year-old fall Derby preps, but this one right here has stood the test of time. Last year's winner being Forte, with Red Route 1 coming in third. Rattle and Roll won the year before. Essential Quality won. Maxfield, Knicks Go. Free Drop Billy beat Bravazzo. Classic Empire beat Looking at Lee. Brody's Cause. That is the last little bit rundown of this 2-year-old race. We were getting the Claiborne Breeders Futurity, $600,000, mile and a 16th on the dirt. More than likely the favorite in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile is going to come out of this race. No. Louie says no.
Baffert will have the favorite in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile.
We'll see. Well, I guess it is in Santa Anita. But this person, whoever wins this race, is definitely a major factor.
If Locke wins this race by 3-4 lengths, he might be the favorite in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. You might be right.
No, you got this race has been a good indicator of older, maybe not Derby, but older horse success. All right, so let's at least go with that. So, who's our next superstar that's in this field right here? Barry, we'll let you go first. It's already,
Well, the thing is, you got Locked, and you see those 2 big buyer numbers, thoroughgraph numbers. And my question is, when I look at these things, is how better can this horse get than what we've already seen? He ran a 96 buyer, and I know people like to gripe about those things, but honestly, how you really think that this horse can get better than that? And not saying that would win this race. A 96 would definitely win this race.
No question.
But the question is, do you think Locked can do it again? And I'm going to side with no. Not from this post position. These 2-year-olds are erratic. They do a lot of things, in races for no reason. I mean, look at Locke's first race. Was nowhere to be found for 80% of that race. And lost to a horse who in this race is 12-1 on the morning line.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'd like horses to be superstars, but at the same time, I like to beat them. And I think this is a really good opportunity to beat a horse like Locked, because, if you think that this horse can regress and still win, have at it. But I'm not going to do that with a short price myself personally. I kind of thought Timberlake merited a long look off of that Hopeful. Made the jump out of maiden special weight into grade 1 company pretty easily and ran very, very well. And I think there's just a lot of upside there. Brad Cox does excellent with these types. He's holding a great hand here with the 2 and the 3. It's hard to get around those 2. And then I kind of like West Saratoga a little bit.
Yeah.
That race proves something.
I need one on West Saratoga right now.
I know.
Since this horse has stretched out to a mile, it's been pretty good, and I don't think that this is the horse's ceiling. So there's potential to kind of jump up with the speed figures and everything. So I'll throw that one in, especially if we get anywhere near 21, which I don't think will happen, but in case it does, I'm definitely going to have that one on my radar.
I think the case for West Saratoga is pretty simple, is that it's a 2-year-old race. Barry's right. Mm-hmm. Some of these horses they're like, oh, the gate's open. I'm going to run as fast as I flipping can, right? And they just try to figure it out. If that happens, West Saratoga is an exaggerator, man. He runs like his dad. He's coming from
Who finished second in this race. Exaggerator. Yeah, he's there.
Larry Demerit's a small outfit, but the guy knows what he's doing. I mean, so no, that price, Gerardo Corrales in Kentucky, man, that's something you can lean on. He's really good here. And so frankly, I expect West Saratoga to hit the board in this race because he's going to pick up the pieces of whatever is left over. So I don't think that's a crazy thing. If he won the race here, I'm with Barry there. I don't think it catches anybody off guard. I do have Locked on top. I won't lie. I actually like that he got better when they went to that mile at Saratoga. When they gave him a little bit more distance, he actually looked more comfortable running. Gun runner, who knows? He might actually be better as a 4-year-old than he is as a 2-year-old. Who knows? But we'll see. But the breeding doesn't suck for sure. And then I agree with Barry about Timberlake and Awesome Road. I think another one to look at is the Wine Steward here. Has only been running in shorter races, but Mike Maker does a good job going sprints around. Does a good job with 2-year-olds as well. And so interested to see if that's a horse that can wait and be patient. And pick off pieces like he has before. But that horse is willing to get a little bit of dirt in his face, run 4th or 5th in a race, and then pick up the pieces at the end, like I mentioned. Is the Wine Steward the horse that picks us up at the end? By the way, son of Vino Rosso. And so, that's one that's interesting. Again, the short stretch there. So I do like Awesome Road as well with Flavia and Pratt because of that shorter, sort of stretch that they have to run there as well.
All right, we mentioned a race that Wazdan won, and this is a race that Wazdan won twice. The Coolmore Turf Mile Stakes, a mile on the turf, $1 million purse here for 3-year-olds and up. Louie, who did you have here?
So like Barry feels about Wicked Halo, I feel about Master of the Seas. And he reminds me a lot, frankly, of – oh, my God, why am I forgetting? Who won the Woodbine Mile last year and then won the Turf Mile in the Breeders' Cup? Oh, my God, why am I doing this?
Modern Games.
Thank you. My God, I did a podcast right before this and remembered Modern Games' name and didn't remember for this one because I'm an old man. How about that? And so he reminds me a lot of Modern Games, man. Just smooth as silk, navigates crowds, doesn't seem to be bothered. Look, Charlie Appleby, all the things make sense. I would definitely have him on top. Up to the mark is in this race, the 5-horse, 5-2. Todd Pletcher wins the Manhattan. Before that, wins the Turf Classic at Churchill. That form travels, so that horse is going to have something to say as well. He's 5-2, so I'm not telling you anything you don't know. The horse, man, mad at this horse. Screwed me in the million. Set piece comes from last. We didn't know he could do that. I assumed he couldn't even do a mile and a quarter because he never ran it. And then suddenly he's out there running a mile and a quarter. And my voice just went up for no reason. All right. So I don't know what that piece is going to do. So I think you got to throw him in because the horse is capable of navigating traffic and being really excellent. He and Florent Giroux have a great thing going. Bothers me a lot. Want a longer play here. I got one for you. Greg Foley has the number 3 stitched in here. Looked really good in that mid-million at Kentucky Downs. If that, I think we'll know early in the card if that Kentucky Downs form is translating to Keeneland. I do. I think we'll know early on. If it does, that number at 15-1 becomes very playable with Brian Hernandez Jr.
Barry, any love for Annapolis, last year's winner?
Yes, I do. I like that horse here. I don't think anybody in this earth could beat Master of the Seas, but Annapolis could definitely finish second. Master of the Seas was just way too good up at Woodbine. He hardly broke a sweat and beat Cheryl Spite, who was literally all out. I know that one was coming off a layoff, but still, if you watch that replay, it was just way too easy. And honestly, this field might not be as good as that one.
I agree.
Top to bottom. So, I think Master of the Seas is a mortal cinch here, but I do like Annapolis to bounce back off of that Kentucky Downs effort. The track at Kentucky Downs, the inside was the best part of the track to run on. Every day they raced at Kentucky Downs this year, and this one got caught way out wide and made a run and kind of flattened out. So I would definitely give Annapolis another shot. Probably get a decent price on him too.
All right, he's Barry Spears, the Urban Handicapper. Barry, thank you for joining us on another edition of the Horse Racing Happy Hour. You've become obviously one of our favorite guests, and we look forward to you staying in Louie's basement in the spring.
Yeah. No, it's going to be fun. And Dan Issel says hi, man.
That's my guy.
I know. Yeah, I was like, hey, we're going to have a
Was he shirtless the other day too? Happy birthday, by the way.
He didn't get on. Thank you very much.
Happy birthday, by the way. Yeah. Oh, I know you guys were nipples out. I just couldn't do it myself, but
I'm going to say something that Louie's not going to like. I think that was probably my last one doing it like that.
Oh, okay.
I think it's done.
I mean, not for me, but whatever.
I think it's played out. I think it's played out at this point.
All right. Well, Issel was a peak that we will never reach again.
100%.
That's the problem.
Maybe that's it. Yeah,
That could have
you guys
been
went too good on the first one.
Let's just get like 3 female handicappers for next year's show.
Oh,
All right. Anything else from you, Louie, before we head out?
No, I don't think so, Barry. Thanks for jumping on, man. And we're getting into that stretch of horse racing that makes me very happy but very sad because I know the end of the year is coming, and then we're going to be at Turfway at Aqueduct. But but no, just the month leading up to Breeders' Cup, my energy is my cup runneth over, Michael. So I'm excited.
He's making our travel plans. He's all excited. So
yeah.
he's got stretch limousine.
We got the road trip hats, man. We're ready to go.
Look at those new hats.
Things are fire.
Yeah. So all right. Well, we're gonna pay the tab. We're gonna get out of here. Make sure you go get your gold book, and we'll talk to you later.